Hello, we are Laukote Azule and today we are going to explain the didactic unit we have created about good health and well-being. To begin with, we are going to explain the index of the work. First, we will make a brief introduction and justification of the work. Then we will relate the competencies of the decree and talk about methodology. After that, we will explain the phases of the didactic unit we have prepared, and finally, we will talk about the evaluation and conclusions. In order to carry out this didactic unit, we have taken into account the Agenda 2030 project, which aims at sustainable development. For this purpose, we have focused mainly on the objective of good health and well-being, on the subject of natural sciences. We have mixed planting and growing food, making a balanced diet, and the use of a healthy diet. We have chosen this goal as our main theme to design this didactic unit. Taking into account our academic experience, we have seen that this topic is very present in schools, but it is not adequately defined. For this reason, we have thought of creating a didactic unit focused on this topic, so that the students do not only have theoretical information, but also put it into practice. Taking into account both our personal experience in primary education as students and in the practice carried out in the degree so far, we have come to the conclusion that students mostly tend to consume processed food during breaks and lunches.
Throughout this work, we have tried to work on most of the competences of the decree. In all the sessions, we have included the same transversal competences but in a different way, as each activity was different. For the subject competences, we have worked mostly on the competence for science and the linguistic and literary communication competence. But in some activities, we have also included the social and civic competence and the competence for mathematics. This work is based on the CLIL methodology. In order to carry out this project, we have organized the didactic unit into activities according to the phases of Bloom's taxonomy. The phases we have used are the following: remember, understand, application, analyze, evaluation, and create. After this, we will explain how we have worked on each of the phases of this methodology with examples from our didactic unit. The first phase is remember, and in our didactic unit, the session we have created to work on is divided into different activities. The main activity is the food pyramid. The students will have to create with their own bodies and the crossport method. The second phase is understand. To work on this phase, we decided to put a documentary about the junk food risks, and then they will work on different verb tenses using the sentences that appear on the documentary.
The third phase of the methodology is application. To work on this phase, we will use two sessions. In the first one, we will carry out two exercises. In the first activity, a farmer will come to talk about the products of each season of the year. In the second activity, they will have to make a short summary of the farmer's talk. To make a summary easier, first, the students will have to get together in small groups and make an index card with the vocabulary used by the farmer. In this way, they will work on vocabulary and grammar. In the second session, the students will work in groups to create a balanced and healthy diet with what they have learned in the previous classes. The fifth phase is analyze. To do this phase, students will analyze the foods they eat in a day and calculate how many calories are in those foods. Then they will compare them with the recommended calories of their age. The sixth phase is the evaluation. To do so, the students will analyze the diet of another group, making suggestions and giving their critical opinion about the planned diet. Students will have a worksheet with some pieces of advice of how making suggestions. The seventh and the last phase is the creation part of the last product. In this phase, the students will have to create a tour around the Basque Country, choosing different places to buy sustainable, ecological, and natural products. To create this tour, they will have certain sentences they can include and also linkers and connectors for the text.
In order to be able to evaluate the students' work during the activities, we will rely on observation. To evaluate the students, we will also take into account the quality. We will try to see the development that each student has had during the whole approach. We will not only focus on the quality of the last result, but also on the interest and effort made. In order to be able to complement this evaluation, we have designed the following rubric with the aim of being able to specify more deeply the development, the limits and the improvements of each student. Through this work, we have mainly learned how the CLIL methodology works in order to be able to apply it in the future with our students. The beginning of the project was not easy, as it was a totally unknown methodology for us and it took us some time to get used to it. Moreover, following this methodology, and as we said in the introduction, following the criteria of or guidelines of Agenda 30 plan, we will be able to learn and become aware of many essential topics that are very present in our society. As we have said before, this methodology will be a very good option to work with in class. But at the same time, it is a very demanding methodology for teachers. In order to be able to carry out this technique, teachers will have to have a great mastery of it, which requires progressive and continuous academic training.